Now it's recording.
Hooray?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hooray.
Yeah, this time for real.
Yay.
The audio issues with us persist. I don't know why it has me quieter than Brian,
It's
but
part of our charm.
me being quieter than you on our audio levels is charm?
Sure.
Okay, well, I guess I could talk louder. When I talk like this, it's louder, but this sounds more like my, I don't know, pissed off voice. And that's a little too loud.
Well, it's fine. You're going to go on a rant in this one anyways.
Well, I didn't need to be called out like that, but
Well,
right.
I mean, preview for about 5 minutes in the future.
Yeah, I'll probably get louder. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't really join you on this one because it just didn't happen to me.
What, your audio levels?
No, just like the movie experience. I just didn't.
Oh, because of my rants, because of what happened.
Yeah.
So why don't we get that out of the way?
Well, hold on. What is this episode?
Oh, shit, yeah. Ever since this reboot started, I don't think I've started any of them with the title of the podcast. I'm terrible. This is Two Real Takes. This is the Odyssey episode, something that I've been looking forward to for over a year. We saw it on the 18th, the Saturday, day after it released, in IMAX as Nolan intended. I had to include that because you're supposed to say that if you saw it in IMAX.
Yeah, the real IMAX, not the fake one.
Not the fake one,
One of our
yeah.
theaters tries to claim.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, random person who streamed at Edward saying he was seeing it the way Nolan intended, but then put in the notes,
That is not.
I know it's not IMAX, thus negating the actual way Nolan intended us to see it. Whatever. What a jerk. Anyway, now do I start with the rant?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Theater etiquette. This seems to be a topic we talk about just about every time we do an IMAX episode.
It's also because it's always the most jam-packed theater movies that we go see. Because
Yeah.
oftentimes we'll see movies kind of later in the day, or maybe we're a week behind. But this was like opening weekend, big crowd, a very large theater kind of scenario.
Yeah, I agree. It is one of those movies, or one of those instances where, it's packed. You're absolutely right. So maybe I should stop complaining, but I won't. Partly because you would think that these moviegoers are the type that would share the theater etiquette. So,
Yeah, especially given how far in advance you had to buy these tickets.
right. So I know during Oppenheimer specifically, I had to throw a prized raisinette. Those of you who've been listening to this for a long time know my candy of choice at the movies is raisinets or M&Ms. But it was raisinets that night. And I had to throw one at a girl who was checking her phone constantly during Oppenheimer. Now, I get Oppenheimer's long. It's lengthy. Brian himself said that.
It felt it.
But you don't need to check your phone. So weirdly enough, we had that happen this time too. A girl seated in front of my wife checked her phone. Thankfully, her brightness was down, though she didn't try to hide checking her phone. Like, if I ever need to check my phone,
Oh, I'm like peeking. Like,
I peek, yeah.
like at the I'm covering it completely, and I'm just like trying to get a little tiny peek. And I don't want anyone to see it.
I've gone as far as if I'm wearing a sweatshirt, I have a blanket. I check it, like I throw the blanket over me, like I'm trying to, I was going to say cop a snack or something like that, but that doesn't make any sense. Like I'm trying to hide the light. Like I don't want any light getting annoying the people behind me or whatever. So this person checked the phone. Didn't really bother me, but whatever. What really bothered me, I mean, it did bother me, but not as much as the girl from Oppenheimer, because obviously I didn't lose a candy over it. What bothered me was we had a guy behind me, or behind you, and you totally blocked this stuff out, which I applaud you for.
I'm oblivious to that.
I don't understand how you're able to do that, really.
Because this movie, well, first of all, because this movie was loud as fuck. Like the sound quality and editing in this film was off the charts. So yeah, it was really hard to hear anything outside. I imagine that you had to be pretty loud for me to hear you at that point. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just good at phasing that out.
Are you accusing me of not actually listening?
No, I'm accusing you of having bionic hearing that I don't have apparently.
Ears of an elf.
Yeah.
So the guy behind you, he kept on making when I had heard something behind me numerous times, and usually I block it out because sometimes it's like, oh, a friend asking a friend, oh, I didn't catch that, or a father or somebody, they didn't quite catch it, so they asked their kid or something like that. But when it happens constantly, it starts to bother me. And this kid specifically, kept doing this thing where he was talking, and what caught me was I was looking at you to see if I could see who it was in my peripherals, and I did. He kept using his flipping hands. He was talking with his hands. And I was like, how is this not pissing anyone off behind him? He was essentially doing...
Oh, like his hands are in the air.
They're in the air. Like, he kept doing it. And I was like, what are you doing? He looks like me when I'm watching the Yankee game and they're losing. I'm like, which is a lot.
Well,
but
it's pretty good stadium seating. I don't know. You have to put your hands pretty high in the air to really block someone's vision.
Dude, I don't know how someone else didn't say something. Maybe they're more polite. I don't know. But he kept talking, and I looked back and I made eye contact with him, and he stopped. But I made eye contact with him, so he knows, hey, I'm making a lot of noise. But he kept on doing it. Kept on doing it. Kept on doing it. And then there was two dudes sitting next to my wife, because I sit in the middle of you two because, for one, I hang on to the popcorn because I'm kind of a popcorn hoarder. And it's just better that way, because if I want to say something to you, then I can say something to you. If I can say something to my wife, I can say something to my wife. And the two guys next to my wife kept making comments. And it got to a point where Robert Pattinson's character said something, and the dude said, oh, hey, look, it's Batman, or something around the I heard Batman clear as day. And this was already after they had said some things, and my wife is looking at me. I can hear him, and I was looking at her. And then finally I was like, I can't do it. So I literally bent over her, and I said, guys, do you mind? First guy saw me right away, looked away like he was kind of embarrassed. Second guy looked at me, and then seemed kind of embarrassed too, and watched the movie. I didn't hear a peep out of them after that. Fantastic. I don't know why you need to make comments like that. Those comments can wait till the end. You knew Robert Pattinson was in it. It wasn't like a cameo. It's not like George Clooney popped up and someone was like, oh, Batman. You know what I mean? Or, Danny Ocean. You can keep your comments to yourself. If it's low enough volume and you're more leaning into your friend and saying it, perfect. That's perfect. But saying it out loud, I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels... I never want to be that guy, and I'm just trying to be socially.
We're never those guys.
I just try to be socially conscious about it, and some people are just very oblivious to some things.
Yeah,
people can hear this shit.
Brian says this, but he knows that if someone is annoying, I will handle it. So even if someone does annoy Brian, he's
because you also notice it way earlier and more often. I don't even notice half of these things. Legitimately, I didn't notice anything in this film at all.
Well,
I think I remember hearing one commentary at the beginning, and then that was it.
Behind you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard the guys behind me at the very beginning, but that was it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I was locked in because I love the shit out of this movie.
You remember? I think the only time, another annoying time was it might have been. I don't think it was Oppenheimer. It might have been whatever we saw before that. Maybe it was Gladiator. Or no, Gladiator was after.
Well, you can interrupt Gladiator. I didn't care.
Remember the guy? There was a guy in front of us that was on Twitter, looking at cats.
Was that Spider-Man?
Maybe it was Spider-Man.
I think it was Spider-Man.
looking at cats, and then the guy 2 seats next to my left came over and was like, "Hey, dude, don't check your phone." And then I found out this lore about this guy and how he goes to IMAX movies and he's notorious for pulling out his phone. And I was like, well, of things that you could be known for, this has to be one of the dumbest I have ever heard of.
At a certain point, you think theaters can start being better about that? Because funny enough, when I went to go see Obsession a few weeks back, it's the first time I've ever seen this happen. I walked in and I saw 2 kids standing at the back of the theater because it was at Roxy by the back entrance or the exit. It's not an entrance, it's an exit. And I saw the 2 kids there. I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't think anything of it. But then I saw 5 kids run into the theater like 5 minutes later, like right before the movie started. I'm just like, oh, they totally opened that door and let them in. And within like 3 minutes, manager came in with somebody else and they started peeping around looking. And then they left out and then the kids all ran out. Like they were on top of that.
The exit by the screen?
Yeah. No. Like if you go into Roxy and we go down to the right, like that back entrance by the parking lot. Like they opened the door and let the kids in.
Oh.
And the manager was on that shit like that. Like they knew it immediately.
Yeah, 'cause he's
exactly what they did. Yeah, but I'm just like, do that with the phones? Did it not have any cameras or anything? Because like if you have one camera in the back, that should light up like somebody's phone is out.
When's the last time you've seen at any movie-going experience, whatever theaters you've been to, have you seen them even check the exits anymore? Because remember, that used to be a frequent thing. They don't check the exits anymore.
No, then they just have cameras there and just maybe someone's just monitoring it.
Oh, so they don't like interrupt.
This was a 9:30 start for Obsession. It was very late, so the manager was not at the front doing.
Yeah, he can afford to walk around.
She was in the back. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I forgot what it was. But like I would like theaters to be a lot more strict about it because movies are getting expensive now, and I really don't need you guys in trying to ruin shit.
Brian says that knowing it's going to ruin it for me faster. It's gonna ruin
Yeah,
it for him.
true. This is a weird movie to do that too. There was so much going on in this film.
Yeah.
There was so much. Like again, this is a 3-hour movie, 2 hours 50-something minutes. It didn't feel like that at all. Like this movie did not feel like a grind whatsoever. I really had that issue with Oppenheimer where it felt like a grind. I did not have that at all for this movie. This movie could have been an extra half hour long and I would have been fine.
I was enjoying it. The interruptions were kind of screwing it up, but I was happy that they weren't as... They didn't interrupt the movie-going experience too much like it was for like Oppenheimer, where the girl kept checking her phone. And like she was there with like a group. And I remember she was yelling at me because I threw the raisin. And like I didn't throw it at her head. Like I threw it, and I think I hit her like shoe or something. And I just put like the notion of put your phone down. And it was like, you can't throw that at me. And I was like, okay, well I did. I spent a lot of money for these tickets. Like I don't mean to be that guy. And like I know you don't like clapping when the movie is over.
Oh yeah, because there was clapping in this movie too. I'm not big into clapping. At the end when it's over, credits, I don't give a shit.
I don't mind it as much. The clapping doesn't really, oddly enough, bother me all that much. I mean, if there's dialogue and they're clapping into it, like something happens and there's dialogue, then that's a little tough. But like in this moment that I'm thinking about in this movie, I didn't feel like it interrupted anything, so that was nice. But yeah. Funny thing is, and I know I sound like the get off my lawn old guy, but when the movie had ended, the guy that was talking behind you had dropped his wallet or something in his seat, which, mind you, the IMAX seats at this movie theater like they're not loungers. Like they're traditional stadium seating with cushions. So it's like your wallet's not going to get stuck in some machinery when it falls. So it should be relatively easy to find. This dude was on all fours with his light on, holding up traffic because it's also cramped,
It is very cramped in that theater, yeah.
trying to find his thing. And that is when I was telling you about him. And I said, the guy behind you wouldn't shut the fuck up. And I saw him with his phone on, his camera light, looking under these seats, turn and look at me. And I was like, I could turn, you do two things. I just need to play it cool. I don't want to start anything. Obviously, he got the point. That's good, because that'll stick with him. It's over. I don't need to escalate things. So I didn't. I just let it be. He knows what he did. He's a jerk. So the guys next to my wife, the second the movie ended, they left. So they must not have. They were there more for, I don't know. Oh, I want to sell these tickets, and they didn't succeed. That's what that felt like. But other than that, pleasant experience. I did love everyone booing the AI commercials or trailers before the movie. That was great. The car commercial and that other AI commercial, everybody was booing that. That was great.
The Wolverine commercial came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting. There wasn't any game. Like that was one of the things. The game.
Oh, the Wolverine game.
Yeah, it's a game.
Dude, that game is.
That was the first thing people asked me when I was at work. I was like, oh yeah, I went to see the Odyssey in IMAX. But it was like, do you see the Wolverine trailer? I'm just like, yeah. Was that was that supposed to be a big deal? I don't know. It didn't seem like there was any gameplay in the thing, so I didn't think much of it. But apparently that was a bigger deal that I totally missed out on.
That game, I'm really excited for that game. I'm sorry, that game looked cool. So that kind of stuff I actually enjoy. I didn't mind it.
Anyways, the movie.
No, I'm not done ranting. The guy with the girl that was with the girl in front checking her phone was trying to take a picture of the screen when the movie ended. And I kind of felt bad because I kicked his seat and he put his phone away. And then when we were leaving, I was taking pictures of everything because they had not memorabilia, but they had like props and costumes out on the.
Yeah, they had like stuff that was in the movie.
Yeah, he was taking pictures of it. He seemed excited, so I'm kind of bummed I might have ruined that for him. But I just saw a phone and I don't know, saw red, I guess. Just don't check your phone. Just don't pull your phone out until the house lights come on.
Yeah.
That's all I ask. I didn't check. I turned my phone off. I didn't check that thing until we left. We got outside. No, I had it. It turned on inside, but I didn't really like go through it anything until I got outside.
I wait until lights go on because that tells me that there's no after credits or anything, and they're like it's just credits.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And then we heard that weird family that came in for 10 minutes.
Yeah, they showed up late and then they left early,
and then they stayed for 10 or so minutes and left.
What a waste of money!
I don't know what was going on.
That was a very weird occurrence. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, the movie. I don't know. Movie was okay.
I love the fuck out of this movie.
I love the movie too. Yeah, the movie was amazing. I was surprised for it opening with Travis Scott,
who I didn't even realize that's who that was until about 20 minutes ago. I don't know what the fuck he looked like. Sorry, I don't.
What's a Travis Scott?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know. I don't listen to that kind of music.
So, I thought it was cool. It was an interesting part. I wasn't expecting it to open up with the suitors as well. That was an interesting take. And I thought I was chomping at the bit because it had started, and we stayed with the suitors a good portion of the beginning of this movie, and I was dying to get out there to find out where the action is, kind of thing. Like I was dying to get on, like out in the sea and where they are in their journey and all that stuff. And I knew it was going to be shot in a way where it kind of messes with time, and it does. Because when we first see him, Odysseus is with Calypso. And he's unsure of, where he's at or what happened to him and stuff. And we find out throughout the film that he is on this island with Calypso and he's trying to remember what happened, but he's under the influence of the lotus flower, which people will know if they read the story. There's an island of the lotus eaters, and they reach that island, and it's so this lotus is like a drug where it makes people forget their like woes. Essentially, they basically get addicted.
Sounds awesome.
They don't want to. They don't want to leave. They want to stay on the island. They want to keep consuming this flower. So they kind of took that and merged it with the Calypso thing. And every time we see something like, it's not a flash. Well, it's a, pardon me. Sorry. It's like a flashback or something. It starts with like Calypso and Odysseus on this island, and he's like, I remember this, and then they go into it, or she says something that kind of jumpstarts his mind, and then you learn one more thing about the tale until you go back, kind of thing.
I think it works because I think the pacing of the movie was very good.
I thought the pacing was great. Yeah,
like I said, it didn't feel like a grind, and when the pacing of movies is off, you really feel it.
Yeah,
like you're just like, I'm ready to move on with the dialogue or something. Like, can we please get to the next part of the scene? I did not feel that. So in that sense, I think it was done very well.
Yeah, I loved how he did it. He's always kind of played with time, which I always appreciate. I always have a love for. 'Cause, if someone were to have seen the movie and explain it to me before I had seen it and said, "Oh, this is what he does," it would have been uber confusing until I saw it and went, "Oh, actually, this kind of works." It's kind of like when you explain Memento or Dunkirk to somebody, or literally Tenet. People were like, "I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, this seems confusing as hell."
Yeah, good luck explaining Tenet to someone that hasn't
don't
watched
even
a film.
bother.
Good luck to explaining it to someone who's watched it once, because it's still fucking confusing.
Yeah,
that movie jumped the shark. But yeah, otherwise he's always had these movies. He's always done this with movies where you have to kind of really think about it. But this one wasn't really one of those. This wasn't like an Inception or a Tenet kind of a thing. This was a lot more straightforward. And maybe it's just because I'm somewhat familiar with the story already. Like I don't know, maybe read bits and pieces years and years ago, but I don't know the story well enough to the point where I'm like one of those people that is like looking for things that nitpick about it and like, oh, I wish they did this with the story or whatever. And I kind of took it at face value, and as from a casual perspective, this was very good, and I think the adaptation was just fine. I see a lot of people online trying to nitpick and find any little thing to complain about the film or the story or things omitted. And man, it just must be boring to look at a movie this good in that manner, to the point where you're trying to not enjoy it. Like, this was a movie where the adaptation was respectful enough to the source material, and it was still a ton of fun to watch. The essence of the story is still plenty there.
We're gonna end the episode there. I'm just joking. I completely agree with you. The internet. First off, let's have a moment of silence, and I don't actually intend to give them a moment of silence because they can go kick rocks. For the people that leading up to this movie thought it was going to bomb because of all the historical inaccuracies and the
in the make believe story,
and the casting choices, those people can genuinely go kick rocks. I can't stand them. There's one video I found on social media that keeps playing off in my head about people attacking this woke version of the Odyssey that is like, okay, first off, you look like someone that slept through history class in high school, decided to Google things now that this movie's coming out because of a casting choice, and now just want to pick a fight. Like, you're the drunk guy at the bar. Like, you are nothing more than somebody who has nothing else to give the world other than to yell into a device that we use to connect to the internet that has a camera on it, so you can make a point that no one cares about other than the other people that think like you, who honestly need to go back to living under the rocks that they live in. The casting and the historical inaccuracy thing makes the arguments for that make me insane for a couple of reasons. How many people, and I think I brought this up in a past episode, how many people lost their minds when Christopher Nolan, if we're just keeping it in the Christopher Nolan verse, casted Heath Ledger as the Joker? Do you remember that?
Honestly, no, I don't remember that, but I've definitely seen people say it was similar to like when Ben Affleck was cast as Batman. Where it's just like hell the fuck no.
Like, I don't understand how you can't let a casting play out. There were castings in like the Zack Snyder DC movies and stuff that I thought, that's going to be pretty good. And it didn't work out. There's been castings in other movies, didn't work out. But I thought, oh, this is definitely going to work. And then there's sometimes where I'm like, you know what? I can't see it. And it works.
Yeah. Has Christopher Nolan not proven that he knows how to cast? Has he not proven he just knows how to make movies really good? And just like maybe watch the film before trying to throw a fit about it at first?
Yeah.
Because everything worked.
Everything worked. Like, I don't understand. Like, first off, a lot of people were bringing up the point of, and I won't get political, about the Elliot Page thing, about him playing Achilles. At no point was it confirmed that he was playing Achilles.
No, and then the character that he did play, it fit.
Mind you,
it was fine.
Yes. Mind you, Achilles has no part in the Odyssey. He has a part in the Trojan War, yes, but this wasn't about the Trojan War. The Trojan War was not a footnote, but was a smaller part of this narrative. It really was.
It kickstarts the story. It's like the beginning. It's like where the story begins. Like this happened. Yeah. Now this story happens.
It bounced between. Yes.
Yeah, but because you want to include parts of that, but because it's important for like the essence of the story. But again, it's not pivotal to the movie. It's a different story.
Yeah. You didn't see Hector. You didn't see Paris. You didn't see. You saw the pieces that were needed to tell this story. I didn't need to see Achilles. I didn't need to see that. We have a movie where we can see that stuff. By the way, we have a movie where the armor is a little bit more accurate, but nobody ever brings that up. They just shit on the movie back when it came out, and then now it's so much better than the Odyssey. It's like, you were not on the side of that movie 15 years ago.
Yeah, no, sorry.
You weren't on the side of that movie 4 years ago.
This one looks better. People were whining about the armor. Agamemnon, whatever, however
I struggle to say his name too.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
The dude was aura farming for the entire fucking film.
And it looked great.
There are people comparing him to Darth Vader right now.
Yeah.
By the way, so good.
By the way, his memes all over the internet, complete fire. All of them. They are 100%. Hilarious. The Agamemnon, which is, by the way, oh damn,
I think you got it.
I got it.
Dude, driving home, I was trying to say it in my head the entire time, and I couldn't get it.
What sucks is every time I think I'm saying it right, I say Agamemnon, and then I'm like, okay, mom is not a part of that word.
It's Memnon.
Agamemnon. There we go. Ooh, I think I got it. Until I say Agamemnon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ruin it another. Watch me. Before this episode ends, I'll ruin it again. But like his scene, what I loved about this too is the scenes you had outside of Odysseus' journey. Like you had Telemachus going to see Menelaus and Helen of Troy and then you find out about Agamemnon and Clytemnestra, and that whole thing. I thought those were great scenes. I thought John Bernthal did a phenomenal job. Not that I was worried. I was just.
Oh no, I just love him in general.
I mean, I do too. I gotta be honest. I've always had a soft spot for that guy. Lupita Nyong'o.
Just go. Don't worry about
it.
There's enough difficult names in this movie.
I know,
and
I'm sorry I'm butchering her name. I apologize. Like the whole hoorah over her playing Helen of Troy, that pissed me off too, because it's like, once again, not a big part of the movie, though she had a big enough part where it was interesting. And I also think that when people make those kind of comments, it's kind of racist. Like, just let that. It's such a small part of the film.
Watch the film before it's saying it's bad and then blaming something like that for the reason.
And then when the film is over, whether you were right or wrong, shut your mouth, because it just doesn't matter. It's not enough to get this upset over. It's not enough to yell into your phone to your 4 followers. So that whole thing bothered me. Now, getting to back into the historical accuracy thing, I am writing as. Have I announced it? We're coming to Substack. Everybody should know. I put it on Instagram.
Yeah.
The first thing I am releasing, you heard it here first, is about historical accuracy in films. We should be happy with what we get. I have taken a number of history classes. I am not a history know-it-all at all. I have been in classes with them, and let me tell you something. They have valid points as to why they want historical accuracy in movies, but a lot of them understand why they don't get them. And it's amazing how they get it, but other moviegoers who love movies and aren't history buffs don't get it. It doesn't translate very well to screen. If you look at traditional bronze armor that Odysseus would wear and his men would wear, it's clunky. It would be a nightmare. And it's, by the way, the armor is not a big thing in this story. It's really not. The people, the narrative, the setting is more important, in my opinion. It really is. You gotta let the freaking historical accuracy thing go sometimes. You have got to pick your battles. You are not going to get your 100% accurate to a fictional story and the time period. You're not going to get it. The one thing I come back to when I talk about like adaptation and accuracy with that adaptation is Logan, which is adapted from Old Man Logan. That is such a wild difference if you've read that comic book versus seen that movie. It is incredibly different. It's wildly different.
But who cares, because the movie was fantastic.
The movie was fantastic. But no one brought up the differences. I keep yelling away from the mic. I do this on purpose so I don't hurt your ears, so I apologize. It doesn't, like, what's the point? If it's a good movie, if they even touch on themes or moments in the original piece that it's adapting from, be happy with it.
Yeah, I always go back to Braveheart,
which is incredibly inaccurate.
Yeah, everything about it is wrong. But
is it entertaining? Absolutely.
But it's a great movie.
Exactly.
It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Would you rather see them without the quilts? No. I'm totally content with them doing that because I just think of that when I think of Scottish guys.
You think
it's fine?
Do you honestly think if aliens come to Earth, touching on Disclosure Day a little bit, aliens come to Earth, they say when they would come in peace, we're going to continue this dialogue and build a healthy relationship. Do you really want to be that guy that screams at the top of your lungs years later, hey, this is incredibly, a story bringing up Independence Day and how that's inaccurate? I'm rambling. I'm not making sense. But, it just bugs me. It's like the differences in the adaptation I understand. The historical accuracy thing on a fictional story, you you've got to give me a break, and
That-
you've got to just stop.
That's just a sign, though, of how good this movie is that all the nitpicking is fucking stupid. They're
Didn't
just
mean anything.
they're reaching so hard to find things to dislike about this movie, but it's so good. It's so much fun. It is easily like, again, I kind of want to wait and rewatch it in a bit before I really try to say where I would rank this on like Nolan films. But like when I watch them, it's like, oh, it's top 5. It's gonna be top 5 somewhere.
It would be top 5 for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be in there. Now, I say that, I still need to watch Memento, and we did talk about doing that episode in the future.
Yeah.
So we will see when that happens. But another thing I want to talk about is the accuracy to the actual story. I know I touched on it a little bit, and I said you should be happy with what you get. I genuinely think you should be happy with what you get. There are wildly different things that happen in this adaptation than the actual story. I haven't read the story in years. We first read it in high school. I tried to read it like years ago again. Translated, of course. It's got tons of translations. I recently just bought the version that Nolan adapted it from. So I need to reread it. And I would love to do a follow-up episode on this, should I have the time or restraint. But I can get some people's problem with not including things or taking things out, not adapting it completely. You're never going to get a complete adaptation, especially from a literary work like that.
No, that's just unreasonable.
Right, yeah. But
And it's not going to make a better product.
I think I say that because I'm happy with what I got. I know I'm not going to get everything. You want to know what I got? And I remember telling you guys this on the way home. I saw things I thought he wouldn't include. I didn't think he was going to include the Sun God's Island and the don't butcher cattle thing. Because a big theme is, in the story, is this, fleet, Odysseus and his men keep going to these islands, and one of the first things they do is they cook the wildlife, and when I was watching or listening to The Rest is History, they make comparisons to Australians and always having barbecues and stuff like that, and whether that's correct or not, I don't know, but they included that. I was surprised. The Lotus thing, I thought they were going to kick out. They combined it with Calypso. That's okay. I like how they did that. I like that change. But some of the nitpicking I don't like. Shout out to friend of the show, friend of the podcast, Caitlin, who loves this story so much, and who actually I couldn't respond to after starting a conversation about this movie because, I'm not as well versed in it as she is, so I, tap out on that. But from a fan of film and a filmmaking person, I use words.
Perspective.
Respected film buff or whatever. I thought it was great. And I've said this before, I don't know if on the show or I was ranting to you in the car or something, but I think that these adaptations are a very good way to get people that aren't familiar with the story into that story.
Yeah, to go read it.
Because you look at it like, well, they didn't include this, they didn't include that. Like, damn, man. Think about the people that saw this movie and they become obsessed with Greek history or other tales or the Iliad or Homer himself or whatever.
Yeah, I can't
That's
imagine.
great.
I can't imagine what the number one selling book on Audible or anything like that probably is right now. It's probably the Odyssey.
Odyssey's top 5. I looked today.
Yeah.
And today is the 22nd.
Mission accomplished.
And the soundtrack is like top 5 on iTunes too.
Yeah, because again,
Dope.
the sound and the score was just.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Though
In your
I'm
face.
upset that the once again their first trailer was so bomb, and the music on it was so bomb, that it's just a piece that they took from another piece, and it's not its own thing. Because I would listen to that trailer music on a loop. But anyway, going back to it, I know the differences are going to bother some people. The leaving certain things out, maybe they didn't like. I know Caitlin didn't like the idea of not including some bits like Odysseus having a child out of wedlock, things like that. But we got something, like I'm happy that we got a good story that, I mean, you can't tell me it looks bad. You can tell me it's not adapted 100%. You can't tell me that you weren't amazed by what was on the screen.
No, I mean, the story was fine.
Yeah, but I'm talking like that cinematography, like it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a sucker for cinematography, and it was a beautiful film.
I think being able to see it in actual IMAX definitely was extremely noticeable in this case with the cinematography, especially like some of the shots were just like, we're just gonna chill here because this looks so fucking good.
Yeah, apparently, that scene I don't remember. I remember seeing it. I want to say it was early in the film where they're on the boat and then dolphins kind of swim by. That was on accident.
Yeah, that was real.
That was on accident. That's crazy. Can you imagine that being the camera guy and then these dolphins show up and it's like, okay, well, obviously we're not going to cut, right? Like, I hope Matt Damon doesn't like break character.
Yeah. Because
this is a pretty good shot. So that was pretty sick.
Free production value.
But going back to the adaptation one last time, I loved what they did, and there were things that I wanted to see, like the trick on the Cyclops, the nobody trick, where he tells the Cyclops, my name is, and he gives them the Greek word for nobody, and that's what he calls Odysseus. And then when Odysseus escapes after stabbing him in the eye, well, actually, no, he doesn't escape. I think at first the Cyclops still is kind of guarding the door, but he's yelling outside of his cave, "Help! I've been stabbed!" And the other Cyclops on the island are like, "Oh my God, who stabbed you? What do you need?" And he's like, "Nobody stabbed me. Nobody's hurting me." And they're like, "Okay, well then I'm
shut the fuck up."
Yeah, then shut the hell up. I did want to see that. I was also confused, and I wanted to bring up after the movie to you and ask you specifically, why do you think when leaving that cave he shot an arrow at the Cyclops? Because I thought he did that because he saw the Cyclops. I don't know if he regurgitated it or just threw it. It was like a destroyed helmet of one of his men, and he wanted to get the last kind of jab in.
No, that's what I figured too. Just because he's
right,
because he's upset because he lost the men in that cave, and it's just
and
like
he wanted to take it out on.
And it's like, I'm not
want to one up him.
I have a chance to get a little something back here.
Right. Okay.
Like, I want the last lick.
That's what I thought too. That's what it looked like. But then a lot of people on the internet were like, "Hey, why did he do that?" And I was like, "I thought that was obvious to me. Am I dumb?" But apparently not. I mean, I'm dumb, but like, I'm thankful that someone else understood that, because it seemed kind of obvious. Because once the helmet kind of rolls towards him, yeah, because I think there's only a beat or two before he asks for a bow and arrow, and then he shoots him. And
yeah, but again, if it's like an ego thing, like if you think it's like an ego thing, that's part of the story too, because like he kind of does that, but after he gets on the boat and he's talking shit, and then
another thing they kind of cut out,
yeah.
Because he gets on that ship after when they escape, and he puts Polyphemus on blast, the Cyclops, and because the Cyclops is a son of Zeus, or not son of Zeus, son of Poseidon. And he says when he gets on the ship, and he starts trying to get away. He's like, tell your dad, shove it, something like along those lines. And the Polyphemus says, "Father, please do not allow this man to get home," or whatever. And I was hoping to go back to the adaptation part of it and what we missed out on. I was hoping to see that piece of dialogue that Matt Damon screaming from the boat. You know, please tell your father I am the one that did this. My name was Odysseus. You know, King of Ithaca. You know, and flip him the bird. I know he wouldn't actually flip him the bird, but you know what I get. What I'm saying. But I mean, I can understand being a fan of the story and them leaving things out and not liking it. I can understand that. But I don't think it was enough to bring a serious issue with.
I said it before.
It's a bummer that they didn't include it.
But the essence of the story was unaffected. So in that sense, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean,
when you like really start changing the themes of a story is when I understand being upset about the way you change it. But as long as the general idea of the story is unaffected, then fine. Make the changes that you feel are necessary. And as far as I'm aware, he still nailed that fine. He didn't completely fuck up the story with the little things.
He did a great job of including as much as he could. Now, mind you, I loved the sirens part. That was probably one of my favorite moments of the entire film. You know, they pass the rocks with the sirens. He tells his men, put, you know, wax in your ears, tie me to the mast. You know, don't listen to me until we get clear of it. And the sound dampens because you can't hear their song, or you faintly hear it, or you hear score played over it.
Well, yeah, the idea is that you're hearing it from the perspective of the sailor, so it's muffled. I thought that was a really good way to go about it.
Great choice. And
because if you don't do that, now you have to make the sound where it's like believable, like how irresistible kind of a thing it is, where it like totally fucks with your head.
Yeah, and it would be different to everybody.
Yeah,
because
you're never gonna to get that perfect is next to impossible.
Odysseus even says it was it sounded like what did he say? It was something he said something beautiful, but then he said it also sounds like something he failed to do, or all of his everything he wanted to hear and less, more, something. It was something really beautiful and kind of dark, which I thought was a great way of explaining it. With that, I'm trying to think of other parts of it that were great. I definitely want to see it again. I'm not joking. If they genuinely are selling out IMAX screenings into August, I wouldn't mind looking back into it. Like, I really wouldn't. I would. Yeah,
because it wasn't like we didn't have like the best seats this time around.
Yeah.
So if you have an opportunity to get like premium seats, that's fine. I'm gonna see it again on Thursday with my dad.
If I just pulled the trigger the first time I opened that app, we would have had a little bit better. We would have had, I think it was like 2 rows up and a couple seats over, so it would have been perfect.
It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad, I know, but it still bugged me. Thankfully, it looked better than the trailers they played beforehand, because the trailers are not made for that screen. So when we were seeing the trailers, like everybody was elongated.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, man, it looks like those memes where it's like Matt Damon's face, but it's like all chin.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is going to suck. And then the movie played, and I was like, okay, cool. It's not like that because it's the way I know what I did it. So nothing was kind of, you know, stretched out or anything like that. So that was great. Did you have a favorite scene?
Probably Agamemnon just aura farming once the gate to Troy opened. Literally Darth Vader. I'm so on board with that comparison. It's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah, you know, I am obsessed with the underworld scene. Where they talk to the shades.
Yeah.
That was another thing I was surprised that they kept in. Cersei says, go to the underworld, dig a trench, fill the trench with the blood of sacrifice of, 2 goats, 2 sheep, whatever. The shades can't speak until they've tasted blood. So he talks to Synod, who shows up, and then Synod tells Odysseus, you know, Agamemnon. See, I did it.
Memnon.
Agamemnon is here, and Odysseus is like, he didn't make it home, and then he's like, no, worse, he did, and that was a big topic too, because Clytemnestra kills him for sacrificing their daughter, and that's crazy. Like, that's a crazy thing to include, and it's pretty neat. They did cut out Odysseus' mother because in the story, she's overcome with grief and kills herself, and they meet in the when he's traveling to the underworld. That wasn't a part I was hoping to see. I didn't think we were going to see it, just based on the bits and the trailers. Kind of looked like
Yeah, you're gonna have to make some cuts, and it's just easier to just.
And then when they didn't,
because to make that scene have a whole lot of weight, you have to invest time into that character somewhat, and the movie was already 3 hours long. So
when you weren't introduced to his mother in that first 10, 15 minutes or whatever with the suitors, I knew they weren't going to include her in the underworld part. And that's okay. It's a sad part they cut out, but
read the book.
We did get the thing with
this
Argos.
poem.
That was incredibly sad. The dog?
Yeah, you can't not have that.
Was that, and I thought that was beautiful.
Oh, it was really good.
Because they just shit on that dog the entire time, the entire movie, until they, eventually put it outside. And then, also didn't appreciate the throwing the puppies off the cliff thing in the beginning. Odysseus comes, and like you've read, and if you've seen that painting of this situation, Argos sees Odysseus, recognizes him immediately, and only has the power or the strength to raise his tail, and then he passes. And I knew that was going to nuke my wife's feelings right away, and it did. And it made me kind of sad, because I was like, and it was so beautiful, because that's when Telemachus
Realized who he was.
Realized who he is. He's like, that's the first time I've seen my dog acknowledge anybody. That part was so sick. And that part that we were talking about with the clapping was one of the suitors gets an arrow in the neck.
Yeah, because
after Odysseus puts
seen who he is. Yeah.
And what was beautiful about it was he doesn't even finish the sentence, and he gets the arrow in the neck, and it was beautiful. I love them. I love this movie so much.
That was another stupid thing people were whining about. I saw a clip of someone whining about Matt Damon barely not pulling the string all the way back on the bow. It's like, do you not understand the story of like how it's such a big deal that he's able to even string the bow? He doesn't need to do the full draw on the fucking bow to pierce somebody who's not even wearing armor. You can do a little half draw sufficiently fine.
Yeah.
Looking for stupid
people are just
reasons to be upset about.
Excuses, yeah. But we are not including friend of the show and podcast, Caitlin. She is right. They did not include everything. I'm sorry that she did not enjoy it in the way that we enjoy it. That's okay. We'll have to talk more about that. But there was another point I was going to make, and I don't remember what it was. Oh, John Leguizamo did really good in this movie.
Yeah, he was great.
I thought Eumaeus was great.
I didn't even realize he was in it. I totally missed that part.
You didn't recognize John Leguizamo?
Well, again, I don't watch a lot of I watched the trailer once, and then that was it. I tried to dodge.
But when you saw him on screen,
I knew who he was immediately. I didn't know he was in the movie. I missed that.
I thought you went through like 3/4 of the movie and were like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Oh no! I knew who he was.
Was that John Leguizamo?
I just didn't know that he was in the
Fantastic! Everybody did great in this film. The acting was not a weak spot at all.
Oh,
nobody.
No. Yeah, again, the casting was great, and you know who everybody is for the most part in that film, so you know the actor's going to come through in that sense.
Great. It was. I loved it so much. I want to see it so badly again, in IMAX and in general. I'm glad that we were able to do that. I'm glad I was able to get a Trojan Horse popcorn bucket. I'm sad I didn't get the camera, but I'll be able to get. I'm gonna order that.
It's huge.
It is huge. It's sitting here on my coffee table, still in its wrapper, because I'm afraid of opening it. I don't think I'm worthy yet. I think I need to see it at least one more time. Also, kudos to the AMC employee who, when I came in early to buy it, he said, I bumped into him again because I bought it a couple hours early, just because I just wanted one. And when I came back, he was still working the counter. He said, "Hey, go get your popcorn, man. You bought it with me.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Go ahead and go get it." And I was like, "Thank you. That helps." Because I didn't want to pay another $20 for popcorn. I didn't even finish all my candy. I was so into it.
I still have some more at home. I've been slowly going through it.
I finished the M&Ms I bought in Portland. Shout out to Movie Madness in Portland. I bought these M&Ms from, which there's a story to go with those at a future date. But anything else you want to add about the movie before we close it out? I think this is the longest episode we've done ever.
No, I've covered everything. We're
You
good.
cover everything? You don't want to mention anything at all?
I mean, if you want to go on another 45-minute rant, I can give you some topics.
I just like to ask. I'm kind of teasing you.
I can find something.
You got me earlier, so
good.
I have to give you a little bit of shit.
No, we're good.
So, a couple people I want to thank for this. The guy working the popcorn stand, like I said, and friend of the pod, Caitlin. I'm sorry the movie wasn't everything that you wanted. I'm hoping the animated movie that you're looking forward to helps scratch that itch. But we enjoyed it. We loved it. And I know she loved it, too, from a movie standpoint, so that's good. That about does it for our episode on the Odyssey. This is almost an hour long. So much for keeping them short and sweet.
It's understandable for this one.
And this one, it's one of those. I've been looking for this for so long.
We only get a Nolan film once every 3 years.
Yeah, which actually isn't
at
terribly
best.
too long. Thank you for sticking around on this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. We have a top 5 Nolan episode coming hopefully soon. Brian has to rewatch a couple, and I still, embarrassingly enough, need to watch Memento. I am not rewatching Tenet, but I might rewatch Prestige and Inception just out of fun.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not rewatching Tenet. It's not going on my top 5 stuff.
It looks cool, at least, but it's just hard to follow. So yeah, that does it for our episode on the Odyssey. We want to know what you think. On the post about this episode, please leave any comments or questions you had, any points you want to make. Let us know what you thought of this episode or the movie itself. Thanks as always.